Thank you, Ambassador Stephan. Thank you for having us here. Thank you very much for letting us to conduct this interview at this time. Really, it means a lot to us, especially at this time of the year. It shows the continued support of Germany. It means a lot. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much for welcoming me to your program and for interviewing me.
Now, this year, Ambassador, I think personally created a milestone in Ethio-Germany relations. The activities being done between the two countries took the ties, the relationship to the next level. One being the visit of the Chancellor. He was here visiting the country. He met with Ethiopian counterparts. Tell me about his visit and what it means, and if there is any arrangements or agreements being made at that time.
Yes, no, thank you very much for your question. The visit of the Chancellor was on the 4th of May, and it was the end, or more or less the culmination point of many visits we've had here from Germany. We've had the Foreign Minister here, Annalena Baerbock, in January. Last year we've had the visit of the Minister for Development Cooperation, Mrs. Schulze here. Mm-hmm. So it shows that it was, a series of visits from different officials of the German government. So when the Chancellor came, he wanted to show with his visit that he attaches very high importance to Ethiopia. To Ethiopia as a country of stability and an anchor of stability in the region, but also as an economy, big economy, which needs to be supported. This is one message he wanted to convey. Secondly, of course, he wanted to inquire, of course, also about the ongoing political process. After the Pretoria Agreement, he wanted to know how is the implementation moving on. How is there something we can contribute to help implement the Pretoria Agreement? And then, of course, also he wanted to show that in spite of all the challenges we are having, and you alluded to them in the beginning in your question, we have in Europe because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, we stand by our African friends and in particular by our Ethiopian friends.
The other milestone which was created by the meeting of Pickel, the Director General of Africa at the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development. She met with Minister of Finance, Ahmed Shide, on the sideline of the 2023, the annual Board of Governors of the African Development Bank. Now, in connection with that, tell us about the ongoing German financial support, financial and technical support to Ethiopia. Just recently, Germany made a grant agreement with Ethiopia, which is over 21 million euros. And tell us about this financial and technical support and the meeting of the Director General Pickel.
I'm happy to do that. Indeed, there's quite a lot of support we are offering to our Ethiopian friends, and the meeting of Mrs. Pickel, the Director General for Africa in the Ministry for Development Cooperation, and with His Excellency the Finance Minister Shide was very, very timely, because it comes at a time where we are very happy to re-engage to the levels prior to the conflict. During the conflict, things were not progressing in the way we would have loved to have things progress. So now, after the conflict, after Pretoria, we are very confident that we can, re-establish our excellent relations we have had, since decades now. Since even 1905, we established official diplomatic relations, and to bring it back to old heights and even further than that. This was more or less the main theme of the discussion between Mrs. Pickel and Mr. Shide, and they discussed about how we can, improve relations in the area of development cooperation. Mr. Shide more or less confirmed again that there's a political will on the Ethiopian side to continue with this political process to implement the Pretoria Agreement, and also to see to it that other conflicts in the country are solved in a political way. So this is very encouraging to hear, because of course stability, peace is the prerequisite for development cooperation, for economic cooperation, for economic development and prosperity. So this is why I think this was a very important visit, so that we can now continue with and further expand our bilateral cooperation. You spoke about what we are doing, and there's a huge variety of things we are doing, from for instance, the aid to increase the productivity of agriculture, to education, vocational training, to inclusive societies. We have the whole gamut of development cooperation in our portfolio, which is, by the way, one of the largest, if not the largest, if I'm well informed, that we have with partners worldwide.
One of the supports, besides the financial and technical supports, what could be Germany's support for the reconstruction and recovery plan of the conflict-affected people and areas in Ethiopia?
Yeah, we are very concerned about the situation up in the north, the security situation, the economic situation. I just came back from a visit to the north, and there are a lot of needs up there. And so what we are doing is we are trying to see how we can support the regions and the government in rebuilding, reconstructing these areas. It is very important to show to the people that there's a peace dividend. There's something which that they can benefit from peace, and that this war is now over, and that will bring them a lot of advantages, not only the reconstruction, but also economic development. So what we are doing now is in various areas we are engaged. We are in the humanitarian area engaged, where we have more than doubled our humanitarian assistance to Ethiopia to $82.5 million US. We have been also contributing additional 30 million euros to the PSNP. We have also been contributing some 15 million euros to the Response, Reconstruction and Resilience Program governed by the World Bank. So we are very much engaged and busy in trying to see to it that the situation of the people up in the north are alleviated. But let me underline, it's not only about the north, because there are needs all over the country, and we are very happy also to contribute through these programs I just mentioned also to the needs of other people in the whole of Ethiopia.
Besides this contribution to recovery of the conflict-affected areas and people, Germany is supporting the preparation of the transitional justice document of Ethiopia. I know you met with officials from Ethiopia's State Minister of Justice regarding the preparation of this document. Where is this document is now, its progress, its status, and what does this document brings to Ethiopia?
Well, this transitional justice, I think, is crucial in order to address the future. We have had our own experience with a very difficult time when we had fascism in Germany, from 1933 to 1945, and then also the communist regime in East Germany, where we had dictatorships. So we need to address these issues in the past, so in order to be able to have a future. Because if you do not address these issues in the past, it's very it will affect the future. Transitional justice is part of it, truth-telling. You have to tell what has happened, to find out what really has happened, to address also the victims, how did they suffer, and then also to compensate them, and most importantly also to bring justice. and to bring those who perpetrated the most serious crimes to court. This is our experience. So from that experience, we thought that it would be a good idea also to support what Ethiopia is now planning to do, namely to initiate a transitional justice mechanism. They're having, as you know, consultations all over the country, and this is what we are supporting. We've had a workshop here in Addis Ababa, which we supported financially, and now the consultations which are taking place all over the country are also supported by us financially. And if there is any request from the Ethiopian side, and I want to underline this is a nationally owned process, it's nothing which has to be influenced by others, but if you have an interest in that, if Ethiopia should have an interest, then we are also very happy to put expertise at your disposal and continue further the support of this transitional justice.
Now, besides this political support and cooperation with Ethiopia, Germany is well known in Ethiopia in its cooperation in industry development, especially in connection with work is done to strengthen the cooperation in the field of technical and vocational education, as well as skill development. Tell me about these areas.
Yes, I think vocational training has been one of the cornerstones of our cooperation with Ethiopia since its inception 25 years ago, I think. So it is one of the major platforms of our development portfolio. And I think rightly so, because it is one of the, perhaps backbones of the German economic rise after the Second World War, that we've had skilled workers who were able to meet the needs of the labor market. So we qualified the people in Germany, which the German enterprises needed. And this is exactly what vocational training is doing. And the Ethiopians were interested in this, and we, since, as I said, 25 years, we're very much engaged with Ethiopians on vocational training. What we're doing is, there's many things we're doing. We are helping to build up the infrastructure for the TVET colleges, the technical vocational education colleges. But not only infrastructure, because you need a holistic approach. You have to have collaboration with the industry, you have to have collaboration with the universities. It has to be very pragmatic and employers-oriented. So this is what we are trying to promote, to a good link between the various players which I just mentioned, in order to create this TVET environment which is conducive to have good vocational training education. So we contribute also to a very much labor market oriented curricula. We are increasing the capacity of the teachers of these vocational training schools, and so on and so forth. But not only that, we are also working very much to help Ethiopia diversify its university landscape. You know that there are now 15 Ethiopian universities for applied sciences. We also in Germany, we have universities for applied sciences, which are trying to see to it that the curricula is very much employers oriented as well, similar to the TVET program, but more oriented to the academic level. So what we are doing now is we are having exchanges between 15 universities from Ethiopia and 15 German universities, where they visit each other to learn about each other, to see what are the best practices, how did you develop your curricula, and how could you develop it in a way that the employability of the graduate is increased, so that he then gets a job after having finished and graduated from this University of Applied Sciences. And through this, we contribute very much also to increasing the competitivity of Ethiopian companies. I think this is something which we shouldn't underestimate.
Now, besides this university cooperation, vocational training of students with their skill development, is there any activities being carried out to strengthen Ethiopia's partnership to cooperation to the international community, like bringing German companies to here, besides sharing expertise to bring companies to Ethiopia, or to take something from Ethiopia as a trade benefit? Are there any activities being carried out?
Yes, we are always very interested in informing German companies about the investment opportunities in Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. For instance, I will give you an example. We regularly have our ambassadors conference in Berlin in August. Now this year it will take place in September. Mm-hmm. I will go back and on the occasion of this ambassadors conference, the German Chamber of Commerce is organizing roundtables. And this year they will also organize a roundtable on Ethiopia most probably, and will ask me to chair this roundtable, and we will see how many companies will come, and I will talk about the business opportunities in Ethiopia. Yeah. But I also know that the Ethiopian embassy in Berlin is also very active to promote Ethiopia as an investment destination. But this is not everything we're doing. Unfortunately, we don't have a German chamber here in Addis. We are working on it, but we don't have one. So the embassy is very active in trying to advise German companies to come on, or what challenges there are, and there are challenges. We have to see. The business environment is not the best. We spoke about the lack of stability, the insecurity. We haven't spoken yet about the need to protect investments. That's something which is very important. The forex crunch, these are things which are not very attractive for foreign direct investments in Ethiopia. But we hope that with the reform that are underway, that His Excellency the Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed has been adopting and will be adopting, that this business environment will improve, and that more and more German companies will then come to Ethiopia.
Now, Ambassador, finally, I do have the information that the State Secretary and Special Envoy for International Climate Action, Jennifer Lee, is going to visit Ethiopia. In connection with her visit, Germany is well known in mitigating climate change throughout the world, and Ethiopia, especially in this region, started the initiative of Green Legacy and is addressing the climate change and climate effects. Tell me about climate mitigation in connection with the Ethiopian initiative Green Legacy and the Germans' participation in this issue.
Germany is one of the
Yes, no, we're very happy. I think this Green Legacy program is a very important program to contribute to achieving Ethiopia's climate goals when it comes to the COP, but also when it comes to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and of the AU's Agenda 2063. So this is something which is very, very laudable, and I must say I'm very impressed by the way of the Prime Minister is pushing the reforestation of Ethiopia. As you said, Germany is also very keen player when it comes to climate change and climate mitigation and climate adaptation. We have the ambitious goal of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 2030 by almost 60%. So it's a huge effort we are trying to achieve, and to be climate neutral by 2045. So these are ambitious goals, but we are very confident that we will achieve them, because we already have, not we Germans, but the world already has the technology. What we need is to use this technology in order to achieve these goals. Of course, this technology has to be put at the disposal also of our friends in developing countries. And here we have this problem of financing, of financial access. And here again, Germany sees very well that there is no need in talking about ambitious climate mitigation goals if the countries cannot implement them. So we help them very much, first of all, in getting the expertise to initiate these measures to mitigate their greenhouse gas emissions, but also to adapt to the climate change, and also to have access to climate financing. Germany is one of the biggest contributors to climate financing with over 8 billion euros a year.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. Now, finally, I will give the floor to you to say something. If we miss some ideas or some issues, maybe if you want to disclose something, the floor is yours.
Well, no, thank you very much. I must say I've been here now for 3 years and I really love this country, the people. I admire the resilience, the friendliness, the willingness to build up again. You know, this is something which impresses me very much whenever I go. Not only in Addis, whenever I go outside of Addis, you know, to the north, as I just mentioned, or to the south, to the east, to west, I see people willing to, you know, to build up this country, and this is something which is great. And we haven't spoken about the national dialogue. The national dialogue is instrumental, as I think, to address the root causes of conflicts in this country. So if this is successful, then I'm sure you have a bright perspective. And rest assured, Germany will always stand by your side.
Thank you very much, Ambassador, again. It means a lot, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.